One of the most exciting SUV comparisons is starting right now for you. This is the all-new BMW X3, and in this new generation, head-to-head to the Mercedes GLC. What can it actually do against the GLC? We're going to find out, because so much exciting, even more so. We did it in the previous generation, and now there's the new one, and we'll see how are the differences and so on. Everything, all details, exterior, interior and driving on the German Autobahn, of course, also with high speed and acceleration with Thomas and Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the all-new X3, which has this really wide open double kidney. Some might say it's a pig nose. Yeah, but I think you get used to it, especially when you look at it in real life, and it looks really impressive with this really open design, optional illuminated double kidney as well, and a modern daytime running light design. And the base line, so to speak, the base look is always with the silver. It used to be the X line, but this is now the already standard look, so to speak. I think it's nice. Tansanite Blue is the color here for today. We have Patagonia Red, so it's the red or the blue pill. You remember it from the Matrix, of course, the Patagonia Red for the Mercedes. This one AMG line, because they do not have any base spec in their test vehicle pool. So it is an AMG line in here, and it has then the Mercedes MicroStar pattern here. The other base trim wouldn't look too different, just that the front grille would have vertical fins, but the size of the front grille would then be the same. So we have a length of about 4.76 m or 187 inches. They are both not that different in the length. The GLC is a couple of centimeters or an inch shorter, but not major difference. Wheels 18 to 21 inch. 21 inch is even possible for this one here. These are, however, 19 inch wheels in this case. 21 inch with the GLC would only be possible for the AMG spec. And you can see they have a lot of wide single elements here. Suspension, you have base suspension or M Sport and M Sport pack. And then adaptive suspension as an option, also available worldwide, or adaptive M suspension if you have the M50, for example. No air suspension available. That's a little bit different with the GLC, telling you soon more about that. Because on the technology side, there is a rear axis steering available in a pack together with the Airmatic air suspension. But we only get that in Europe. So on the US market, you get stuck with the base suspension, which is also not bad in a way. But then on the Northern American market, the X3 has the more sophisticated suspension. On the European market, the GLC would have the more sophisticated suspension. Interesting, right? The rear axis steering, by the way, there the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels. And this is a very impressive system that reduces the turning circle massively. Engines, we have 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engines, also in the test here today as a comparison. The 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol is only available for the BMW X3 and the M50. With the Mercedes, the top AMG spec is also a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Then on the diesel side, there they both offer 2-liter 4-cylinder and 3-liter 6-cylinders. And then are also plug-in hybrid versions available, and they both offer good electric range. This one here even available with a diesel plug-in hybrid. And if you want to know the exact specs of all the engines and so on, we have a separate comment, and also in the video description there you will find all different specs today. All-wheel drive with both vehicles here today, and if you have the all-wheel drive system, then they're always also rear-wheel biased. That's actually the same for both vehicles. Now to the interior, both key fobs here, and they're both very nice in design and also in the feeling. The Mercedes one is a little bit heavier, so yeah, depending on your liking. Then we start with the X3 here. The handles are here integrated, but you can grab underneath, and they also come towards you. And door closing sound, solid. Even more so in the rear. Heard better ones, but definitely not bad at all. Then inside of the doors. So the top part here is somewhat soft. Here as well, it's like leatherette alike. This is new here, so this is for the memory seating and also for the vent control. You slide then here. Yeah, but is that... Not so sure about that solution. And also here, this door handle, I mean, it looks nice from the first hand, but then, yeah, I think it could be made a little bit more premium-like. Here, there's the ambient lighting integration already at the inside of the doors. That's nice. And then no covering at the inside door pockets whatsoever. That needs to be improved, definitely. And then we have this all-new interior.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait a minute. There's no sill protection here, like this entry badge. Okay, so that's missing as well. However, here, the new steering wheel, I think it looks really modern. We know that from the iX, from the Form, for example, also based in the 5 Series. Still some real buttons on the steering wheel. And this flat bottom steering wheel is also animal-free. So it's a new material, high-grade leatherette, and it feels really nice. It's soft, also dampened underneath. So that is well done. Also new seats. And these here are the fabric seats. They are available in Europe as a base seat. Econier, it's called, that material. Not available on the Northern American market, where you directly start with the high-grade perforated leatherette. And both are nice. And some are skeptic about fabric seats, but I have to say they are extremely comfortable. So I can just applaud them for that. Really good also for tall people. Cockpit-wise, it's interesting that they have a different philosophy, beginning with the X3 here. So we have this horizontal layout from the displays. So 2 displays and this one screen. And here is also soft from the dashboard. You can either get this one, like this leatherette-like dashboard, or you could also get a fabric dashboard, no matter, like, yeah, just what you prefer actually. Here the glove box is really, really tiny, I have to say. It can hardly fit anything in there. It's probably dampened, like it falls down slowly, but it's super, yeah, you can fit some microfiber towels in there, you know, for the for the screen, and that's basically it.
The Parkscheibe.
Oh yes, the German Parkscheibe, of course. You know, like the park meter, which you always need in Germany when you park at some parking spots which require a Parkscheibe. Yeah, listen and repeat, Parkscheibe. So it is a very clean atmosphere. That's what I like on the one hand. On the other hand, if you compare the outgoing model, there are no physical dials anymore, for example, for the climate. So the climate unit is then here in the screen. This also sounds nice. So this is a good possibility for driving mode selection. You have to press here and then select the driving mode. And this is possible either then in the screen, or you again use this lower control knob and then select the driving mode. Still a little bit complicated, but at least for some things you can still use that lower one here. The shifting, automatic shifting lever is here, drive and reverse, so that's simple enough. And for your elbows, that's soft enough, and you can put this one open. You have a lot of space here underneath, but there are also the material choices, like this one. This needs to be better. Come on, BMW. So the thing is that the base things here are really good. And to me, the best thing is that the seating comfort is excellent. I would say really segment leading in the seating comfort, both on the fabric seats and on the high-grade leatherette seats. But some minor details, like the materials like used inside here or at the inside of the doors, this is something where some accountants might have said, yeah, people don't see that. And many maybe don't see that indeed. But people like us and who appreciate the details in premium cars, they really want that. Rear seats here with the X3. Soft touch here on the top part, no cover at the lower part. And then we also have the fabric layout here. Again, would be in the high-grade leatherette optional or standard in the Northern American market. Isofix here, you can clip these open and then just put them back again. So the middle part here with adaptive cup holders, that's also nicely done. And this can be also put down as a ski hatch. Headroom with this panoramic roof here at the side, there's a little still there and then more to the panoramic roof. But it works for tall adults. And legroom, yeah, also works here for me when I'm driving. Remember, as a tall person, I always have the seat quite back. Not extremely, you know, but yeah, we have to remember that one here, how it looks like in a GLC then. So considering the length of the vehicle, not the best using of space, let's take it that way. But the seating position overall is decent and comfortable. Then here, rear seats GLC, cover here on top, no cover, hard pack on the lower part. The angle of the opening of the doors, kind of similar, I would say. Then the Isofix here in the lower part is a little bit different. Here, like the lower part is rubber and the top part is harder, and then you push them in like this, but then you have to like push them out again like that. Okay, about that.
Nothing for long nails.
Yeah, nothing for long nails indeed. Then here for the seats, that's interesting here. When you fold them, then this one goes a little bit more forward electrically. That's a great idea, right? That it doesn't fall against the seat. That's good. So what I do feel is that also here the back part of the GLC is stiffer for your back. Headroom wise, Yeah, I think it's comparable. At the side, once again, you have more headroom when you don't go for the panoramic roof. And knee room is also basically the same. Now the GLC, first of all, door handles, classic ones. Door closing sound is, let's try right here. Interesting. So door closing sound better with the X3, I have to say. Here the seat control is here at the inside of the doors actually, whereas with the BMW it's at the seat, and this cannot be moved in these new recent generations. Yeah, could be a better solution. And seat heating you directly activate here when the ignition would be on. Here there's also no covering at the lower part, just like a rubber background, at least that things don't slide that much. Then steering wheel, this is here the AMG line steering wheel with 2 spokes. The base steering wheel would now also be available animal free with the GLC if you prefer that. Seats, this one here is the animal based material. You can however also order the Artico leather red, and is also the most popular choice actually for the GLC because it is softer. And especially like the 2 big bones underneath here, like when you will sit down, here it's just the harder material, and the Artico does give you more comfort indeed. The seats themselves, I feel they're a little bit narrow, a little bit smaller than in the X3. Cockpit in the Mercedes GLC, this is very interesting because it's so different here with the vertical layout of the middle console and the screen. What I found interesting that they really dissolve the screen into the middle console. That's an interesting idea. Oh, and here the deco element. That's beautiful. Matte wood. Yeah. And just listen to that.
And it feels nice. Yeah.
Feels nice, doesn't leave fingerprints, less high gloss black. And you also have options here for the middle console that you, for example, go for this carbon fiber or metal alike scheme, that you don't need the high gloss black overload, which we have in so many vehicles meanwhile. And also here these air vents, the turbine air vents, they have nice clicking sounds. Ambient lighting is integrated. So I really like this styling here also of the turbine air vents. And it's really hard to pick the styling difference in a like or not like, because both are beautiful, I think, but in a different way. And then here, this is kind of like a separated unit then for the digital instruments. The shifting pedals give a better feedback here in the GLC, by the way. So that's actually pretty cool. This is always one of my favorite shots here in the trunk comparison. There we go, using the force. I just love that. Sorry about that. So now, interesting that liter-wise, it's at 620 liters for the GLC, 570 for the X3. So liter figure-wise, the GLC wins. But it is also realistic in the measurements and so on. Where does that plus in liters come from? First of all, here, on this cover here, manual, cabin trolley fits in vertically as well. Then you see here is more than 1 meter or 40 inches in width. Big advantage here for the GLC is already this one, because it has an easy release here from the trunk. There we go. And the total length in here about 1 meter 80 or 71 inches. But now what it is about the X3. That's no problem at all. And then we begin with the height. We were at 73 with the GLC, and it's the same, 29 inches. So the height is basically identical. Then you can see, I feel the cutout here is a little bit further. And here the width, again, this is 1 meter or 40 inches, but you see how much space there is to the right and left. So the cutout here is actually wider in the X3. Lengthwise, it's also similar here with 1 meter or 40 inches. So I feel indeed wider here between the wheel arches. The only problem with the X3 is that you don't have a quick release here. However, if you have long enough arms like I do, I can also reach over here and then fold it from here. So that's possible, otherwise go around. Still, a premium car at that price should, I feel, have this remote release. And the total length also around 180 in centimeters or 71 inches, maybe like a tiny bit shorter, but not the big difference. Sport mode. So that's the first acceleration, driving the X320 here, not called 20i anymore. Yeah, and in the US you directly start with the 30 version, a little bit more horsepower and also a little bit quicker than also in the acceleration figure. So we saw here, yeah, it wasn't the quickest acceleration. For most cases it will be fine, but it's definitely not a powerful engine, let's take it that way. Here now at 130 kilometers an hour, let's accelerate even further. Let's see how much power we still get left. $60. Yeah, see, it's okay. Noise insulation so far, I would say, is good. Looking forward, of course, how it will compare to the Mercedes GLC. But here we were at 160 kilometers an hour. Yeah, and I didn't really have to raise my voice. Here now at 120, so like 70 miles an hour, which is a typical motorway speed, also long term. It's doing also a fairly good job. The noise insulation expert says
It's good, yeah.
it's good. Gets the LEA stamp here for the noise insulation. That's always very, very important. No disturbing noise from the side mirrors. We know that if you have these special M side mirrors that have this visually aerodynamic different design, that is not that good. So definitely stick with the base mirrors if you want the best noise comfort on the motorway. Then, as for the driving modes, this one here is equipped with the adaptive suspension. So here in the sport mode is a little bit stiffer actually from suspension. That's good then for quicker driving. Also when I do some lane changing here, then I have a little bit more feedback. The car doesn't shake up too much. Although the steering feeling could be better, as I mentioned earlier, but it's still fun. Let's accelerate one more time out here. Nice ambient lighting in the tunnel. Yeah, so the 20 engine here will do the job most of the time, but it's not the most powerful one. So if you want more power, you can also go for another one. In the US, it won't be a problem since you also start with the 30 engine with a little bit more horsepower. Of course, it's the same base engine as for that.
Does that work?
Wow.
Ah.
Look at that. That is the rear axis steering in action. So this U-turn here is super tight, and there's hardly any vehicle, no matter of the size, that can do this U-turn without going like all the way around. And that is thanks to the rear axis steering. So here we have the optional air suspension in the package together with the rear axle steering. That is actually the most amazing thing about this vehicle for what you feel in driving. And soon we're going to do our standard acceleration. But I want to really start with this one because this is making the car so special. And in that case, it really sets it apart from the X3. The thing is now that this package is only available in Europe. You cannot even get it in the Northern American market. And that will also have an effect on the price. So here indeed, in Europe, you can spec this one here, the GLC, so much more with so many more features. Then the price difference will be bigger, but also the technology difference. Yeah, that's really interesting, definitely. And you feel here when you have the air suspension, you have a more floaty feeling. They also have a setting where you still feel the air suspension. It's not super wobbly or something that the car shakes up, but you still have, like a good compromise. It's not, say, like too soft, but it's soft enough that you still feel you're driving an air suspension. I think that's also really important. Now we go to the sport mode, and yeah, the button here in the lower part is not the best one for that, maybe, but at least
it's a button.
Yeah, it's a button. It's a button still, even though if it's like the whole thing here, and
this one is big enough to click.
Yeah, either in the screen, or you can just click it and keep clicking it. That's actually easier than in the X3. So here, let's go. That's 130. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think that's enough for this vehicle. Here the GLC 300. In comparison to our X320, this is here a more powerful engine. It's also quicker in the acceleration. They're both 2-liter 4-cylinders. This one just in a higher horsepower tune. The US 30 for the X3 would be the corresponding engine, or the direct engine comparison here to the X320 would be the GLC 200, which is not available in the Mercedes test fleet pool, so we could not get one. That is the pure reason for that one. So as for the acceleration, We just have to say, okay, this is a higher horsepower tune. What's interesting is that in like these very low RPM area, when you are in a city, the BMW engine still feels more lively in a way, you know. So like the access is a little bit easier. Here you have to push it a little bit more, but then of course in that case here it's yeah, it gets a little bit quicker than overall. Yeah, the air suspension is really cool. So if you would not have done, yeah, the thing is then the X3 can always be purchased with the adaptive suspension also in North American market. But with the GLC then in the US you're stuck with the normal suspension, which is also not bad, but then there's not like much difference. Here now with the air suspension, there is a difference. It is a softer ride from the suspension. We also have 19-inch winter tires mounted here, so that is a very, very fair and good comparison between both. But I have to say that I would have expected here on the motorway a bigger difference. Here, however, in the sport mode, you feel it is stiffer than again, so it also changes from driving mode to driving mode. So in the sport mode, you don't feel so much anymore from the air suspension. On the other hand, you have a more direct feeling for the vehicle here. So that is helping when you're doing some lane changes, quicker speed. But let's go back to the comfort mode here and see how the difference is there. There you directly feel that it's a little bit softer once again. That would be the more comfortable long-term setting, definitely. And yeah, definitely very, very good from suspension. So Mercedes does it always very well, especially if they do their air suspensions. And that's also what I really appreciate, that if they do air suspensions, you still feel them. Not necessarily when they did these stuff like putting air suspension in AMG models, then you didn't feel them anymore. But I have to say that the X3 adaptive suspension was also very good. They're both very good, the suspensions, and that's why I would not say that the X3 has a big disadvantage due to that. Let's accelerate out more. Still silent, 150. 160, 170, nice acceleration, and the car also remains calm. Here now, like the wind nose is only picking up at 190 kilometers an hour. It's really good behavior of the vehicle also in high speeds here. Consumption around 8 liters on 1 kilometers for both 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engines, so 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. So yeah, there's not a big difference as for that. And pricing also very interesting. So on the Northern American market, both start at around $50,000. And when you spec them, the X3 doesn't get so much more expensive. So you stay a little bit less than $60,000, whereas you go a little bit above $60,000 with the GLC. The X3 a little bit cheaper than the GLC on the North American market. And the reason for that is that you cannot spec so much more on the GLC on the US market, for example. In Europe, it looks a little bit different. So the entry price there, the X3 at the moment is even a little bit more expensive, but you start both at lower than 60,000 euros. But when you spec the vehicles, the difference gets really, really large. As they stand here right now, 73,000 euros for the X3, but 86,000 euros for the GLC. That is then this 13,000 euros gap. Yeah, so the GLC clearly more expensive when you equip it. And also especially on the European market where you have even more options for that. So everywhere the GLC will be more expensive. What do you think? Tell me your comments, and also check out more Mercedes against BMW comparisons.